Welcome to the Could Be Better podcast. I am Chris Perry, and I am here, unfortunately, not solo, but without Colin. So for everybody that was tuning in to hear his sweet and subtle wit, along with a sense of charm that cannot be duplicated, I am here with potentially his replacement, I guess. Genevieve Moore. Hi, hello, how are you?
Hey, what's up? How's it going, Chris? I'm happy to be here. This is dope.
It is dope, and I am happy you are happy. This podcast is sponsored by and brought to you by Old Mother Brewing. Genevieve, I don't know, when you go into Old Mother, you're at this point where you're like, some days I'm just feeling like an 86 IPA. Sometimes you walk in, you're like, you know what? My soul really needs a Greenbrier cider, only 4.2%. And it is a classic English style cider with a medium dry body and mellow golden apple flavor. But sometimes, just like the way that I sleep, that you want to go with a mouth breather. And that golden stout is a 6% delicious golden stout. And it's brewed with cocoa nibs, coffee, maple sugar. Maple syrup for those haters out there, and milk sugar, only 6%. It's just the best. And Old Mother, you know where to find them. They're the best in town. But enough about Old Mother. Genevieve, so today I called you, and we're obviously recording this podcast well into the future, but also releasing it way into the past. And I'm making dinner, and I give you a call, and I say, hey, do you want to come on and do this podcast? How many ways did you have to try to find to say yes, even though you wanted to say no?
Well, I did really want to play Pokemon. I know you asked me, hey, what are you doing tonight at 8:00? And I was like, I'm playing Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, obviously what I do every night. But Colin's my buddy. I thought I'd help him out. Like, I know he's out and doing other things, so I'm happy to be here. Our conversation tonight with Kitewave was super, super cool.
Yeah, they are. I can't legally say they're my favorite band in Frederick right now, but like they're up there. We had Lauren and Abie on from Kitewave. And also I guess the curators and booking responsibility house people for the Rat Hole. It's just their list of responsibility is almost as long as the tie that I'm wearing right now.
Yeah, your tie is really long. Anyway, yeah, Rat Hole. I was just there a week or two ago. Super sick, tiny, like little house venue there. I'm so glad to see them doing like a variety of things. They're not just doing one thing, they're playing all the genres, they're doing all the stuff. Yeah, Rat Hole rocks. If you haven't been there yet, Frederick people or other people, just go.
All people go.
Everyone should go. Like they try really hard to be accessible to multiple kinds of people. So yeah, I highly recommend everyone making their way out to Rat Hole at some point.
And I would be really bad at my job if I didn't say this is actually our first ever and Could Be Better history, and hopefully our only one ever. But this podcast is done over Zoom. I feel like I've jumped into a time portal, and I am back into 2021, and it feels awful.
Yeah, this is the future, Chris. How do you feel? Everything is chrome in the future.
I feel like I want my money back, but like I am grateful for technology. I'm grateful for these things. I'm grateful for you for being able to hop on. Like, that tonight would not have been as fun or gone as well if you weren't here. So thank you for subbing in. I do
Someone
want
needed to be here to ask all the students.
Sure. Oh, you're the best. You're the best. So I got you. I need to ask you. So we talked about the Rat Hole, and so and we're going to get into it into the interview, so I don't want to steal too much of that thunder, but it's a house venue here in Frederick. For you going, have you been to other house shows in Frederick before?
Not too many, maybe like one or two, like several years ago. But not too many. I'm not too accustomed to Frederick house shows.
Yeah.
So maybe you can tell me a little bit more about what they were like.
Look at that, like a professional. So, I mean, Frederick House shows, it's, I'm not an expert by any means, but I've been to a few. I mean, it's all about the host really just bringing in just like a welcoming space. And so I'm excited for people to hear about something like this, because as Lauren and Abie are on the podcast, like they are some of the best hosts and they are so kind. And they just seem to really just want to get it right, but also are just having a good time. So it's just a really welcoming environment for the house shows, and it's just awesome. So I don't have anything else witty. I'm assuming you didn't eat any sort of fast food that you want to share, because that's typically what Con and I do. We'll talk about some dumb thing that we ate that didn't make us feel well.
I mean, I'm that like trash person. I definitely go to Taco Bell at least once a week. I know you've already talked about Taco Bell like several times, but that's just my go-to place. Like there are things that I can get on the menu that's like $1. I'm a vegetarian. Like there are many places I can't go, but Taco Bell is just like somewhere I go all the time.
Yeah, I mean, and Taco Bell, sponsor of the show. They are one of the first.
Shout out Baja Blast.
God, Baja Blast could literally be injected into my veins, and I wouldn't care what it would do to me.
Have you ever seen Idiocracy, where like there's fruit punch in the water fountains? Can we have Baja Blast water fountains, please?
Sure. Did you know? And actually, here we go. Here's an interesting segue, and then we'll get into the interview. So people, you can skip forward just like another minute or two, and it'll be okay. Sponsored by Taco Bell. There is a Taco Bell for people that consume alcohol. There is a Baja Blast alcoholic drink now. Have you seen it, and have you tried it?
I have seen it. I've seen like whisperings of it on the horizons and photos on the interwebs, but I have not tried it myself.
Now, have you seen one in the wild? Speaking of Pokemon,
like Pokemon, or
yeah,
wait,
like did you try to? So you know how like when you like are like wandering through like the desert or through the forest, and all of a sudden you see like a Pokemon, and you have to like try to catch it, and it's in the wild. Have you seen the new Baja Blast alcoholic beverage drinks in the wild?
I have not seen it out in the wild, but I'm looking forward to it. It's one of those things that I'll probably like go to like my liquor store of choice, and I'll like stare at it for like a solid 30 seconds and be like, am I about to make a poor choice or a great choice right now? I really can't decide. And then I just pick it up anyway,
That's similar to what people do with this podcast. So I'm glad you have this the same
for those
process.
of you that decided to make the poor choice to join us today. Thank you for being here.
Yes. And again, this podcast is brought to you by Old Mother Brewing. It's just the best vibes, best beer, best entertainment, really. I mean, I've seen people pour beer from the ceiling. It's insane. So we got to go check it out. It's on 6th and Market. It's a great time. Speaking of great times, Genevieve, I'm having one, but I have to go do other things. So here is our interview with Kitewave.
Let's get to it.
Welcome to the Could Be Better podcast, already in progress. We are here with Kitewave. As we've talked about at the top of the episode, Genevieve and I are here over Zoom. So Kitewave is our first and hopefully only Zoom guest. Kitewave, how are you?
Doing good.
Yeah. I'm very up, and I was really tired before I came on to see you guys, and now I'm like, oh, I am pumped and ready to be here.
Congratulations on being our first Zoom band. Like, how do you feel?
Incredible. Technology is crazy.
So
I
think this is my first time using Zoom.
This is not my first time, unfortunately. I feel like I'm back in school, my junior year, Towson.
Abie, how did you survive the last several years that feel like the most tens of years without being on Zoom? It's kind of impressive.
Well, you see, I'm what they call an essential worker. So I worked through the entire pandemic in person.
And you lived?
Barely.
He survived.
Yes.
Yeah.
And survival is half the battle, I think, right? Isn't that a quote from somebody famous?
Someone.
Sounds like it.
Did you make the choice to be an essential worker, or were you just like, surprise, here it is?
It was a surprise.
Amazing.
They gave us the
Wow.
paper to give to the cops if we get stopped. It's like, I'm essential.
Wow.
Let me go.
Did that make you feel special?
I felt quite special. I think I posted it on my story.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. So let's talk about Kitewave. You know,
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you like where your name came from, and like this might be just a me thing, but I actually like was doodling and I drew a picture of a kite and then like the little string at the end. And I was like, oh my god, the string at the end makes a wave.
Where I think that was like kind of like our singer Dan. He like drew something really similar when we first came up with the name. He was trying to come up with a logo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I don't know where it came from. We took forever to come up with a band name, and we like played around with a bunch of different things, and then someone made a Google Doc of like a ton of different things, and we all went in and picked our like top 3 or something, and Kitewave was on there, and I guess we all just thought it sounded cool. I personally just was like, yeah, it's like it sounds cool. I don't know what it means, but
Yeah.
and we all favorited it.
It got to a point where it was like, if we don't stick with something now, we're never gonna pick something.
Yeah.
Well, and it's cool because so Kitewave kind of came onto the scene, I guess, like within the last like year and a half or so. Is that about right? And it was like all of a sudden, I think I don't remember when the first show was, and I'm assuming it was probably not at Old Mother, but then the first time that I saw you all was at Old Mother. And it's awesome. It's this really cool mix of just you all are definitely friends, but then you all definitely like shoegaze music, but then also you're like, I also am a jazz musician, or there's some sort of jazz thing there. And then it's also like, yeah, we're just here to have fun as well. And so it's a really cool combination. How did you all kind of come together to make that band with those sounds? Because it seems like you all are, like, I know Lauren and Abie, you all are in the same house, but I don't know about all these other people you meet at school. Like, tell us a little bit about that.
So, I used to work at Music and Arts. I stopped working there like this past summer. Dan was my coworker. Like he was there before I was. We were both like sales associates. And we became great friends through working there. And then Seth, the bassist, he became a guitar teacher there. And he was just like this fun, bubbly guy. So, and then I found out he played bass, and we were always in need of a bass player. And then I invited everyone over to jam one day, and then we were just like, "Oh, cool! Like, are we a band or like what's going on?" And Dan was supposed to leave a while ago, so he wasn't supposed to be like the permanent singer. But then he was like, "Hey guys, I actually want to do this," and so we're like, "Hell yeah, we want you to do this!" So here we are.
He's to leave, like to go get groceries, or like go get milk and never come back, or like where's he going?
No, he wanted to move away. He wanted to go to like New York or California or something. I think he still probably does. He doesn't have a plan. Yeah, no one has a plan.
No, plans are overrated.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. I mean, it's kind of the quintessential music shop, ragtag bunch of folks coming together. Like, hey, do you want to like just play? So that's awesome.
I also thought I just laughed a bit to myself because you said that your bassist Seth, that he was the guitarist, and it just made me think like all the time how like a guitarist just finds their way into the bassist spot in a band. I just thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, he's like, I think his main instrument, even personally, is bass. It's just like no one really wants bass lessons. I've seen that through working at a few different, well, just 2 different music stores. Like, I've met like 1 or 2 people that actually want bass lessons. So the money's in the guitar lessons. So he just kind of picked it up.
It's all about those extra strings. They really make a difference.
Oh yeah.
So speaking of just kind of the sound, so like, would you all like practice at Music and Arts, or did you kind of like craft your own thing, like just at practice, or what did you all kind of come up with?
Well, that was I think Lauren and Dan sometimes would try to write songs together at work, but
Yeah,
for the
we
most
would.
part it was just like through sessions at our place. We would just like throw out ideas and see what stuck and see what we could build upon.
So when you wrote at work, did you write songs about work ever? I feel like
there is one song that is kind of in the drafts right now that we wrote about work. But it's I think that's the only one. The songs we would write at work were like, fuck capitalism, you know. I mean,
Yes.
You know, what better place to write a fuck capitalism song than at a big music corporation?
Get paid for it.
Yes,
Yeah.
and getting paid for it. Yes. So okay, so that leads into our song, our first song that we're gonna play. So I didn't know you all had any music, and so Abie, I was stoked when you sent me a song, and it was like, oh hey, here's a Kitewave song. And I was like, yes. Tell us about this song and kind of lead us into that.
Which word you should do it?
Oh, word. So, I the guitar part I've been sitting on for a few years. I remember coming up with it like 2017, 2018, around there. I was like, man, this is sick. Like, I want to use it for something special. But then I just kept sitting on it for forever. And then we had this thing going on. I was like, oh, I definitely want to use it for this. And I'm not fantastic at writing lyrics, but I had something I wanted to talk about. So Dan and I sat down and wrote this, like, just kind of like, I don't even know, like you have these special people to you, but they just, like, I don't know, they hurt you and they leave and stuff. So it's kind of what this is about, sort of. Yeah.
Cool. So this is Wish Bridge Demo by Kitewave.
Yes.
That song was so good. Lauren, I love, so confession time. So the first time you played Old Mother, I like sparkly, shiny things, and especially things that have blinking lights. And I remember while you were playing, I was like, damn, I love her pedal board. And then I remember being like, oh, I'm running sound. I'm like, okay, well, I got everything dialed in. I'm going to go wander. So then I wandered up and like looking like, damn, her pedals are awesome. Like everything's just like that's freaking great. I've not heard that one before. Oh, that's cool. That's what the sound was like. And it was just the best. So when you guys were doing this whole demo process, like, did you kind of already have your tone dialed in, or like, what were you kind of doing from, I mean, working at a music shop, that makes sense why your pedal board is as immaculate as it is. but it also makes sense. Like, did you ever like take your pedal board to work and like craft your sound? Like, what, tell me how that kind of comes from a total gearhead, and maybe we lose like, 50% of the 6 people that listen to this podcast, but I'm interested.
Well, at Music and Arts, my manager, he was like really, really into pedals, so we would just geek out at work all the time talking about like the new pedals that we were gassing for, as he would say. And so like I learned a lot from him, and he inspired me to learn more about pedals and like watch all these demos and stuff. But for that song, yeah, like I definitely had like a specific tone that I wanted. I used the Astral Destiny shimmer reverb. That's a big part of that. I just wanted that like beautiful, like it just almost sounds like a bunch of people like singing in a cave or something. I don't know. It's cool. But yeah.
Yeah.
I also want to talk about like another song I was listening to, because I listened to your demos. In Emptiness, My Fuel.
Oh, yeah.
And I wrote down, and I just wanted to talk about this. Mystical, magical lyrics, like a dungeon master talking me through a campaign. How do you feel about that?
That makes a lot of sense, because our good buddy Dan is like writes campaigns.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Oh yeah, he's a big Dungeons and Dragons guy. He actually came here and did a campaign with us. It was super fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We gotta do that again.
We've been trying to do it again, but
did you finish it?
Time. No, he like made it so that it was kind of like a one-off thing, but it could have continued. And we tried to schedule it a few times, but one of the players is like, he like lives in Philly, so it just hasn't worked out. But we want to. I love it.
I played my first campaign of Dungeons and Dragons during the pandemic, because I was like, well, what else are you going to do that's going to take up a bunch of time and see people that you don't know? So it's like I got to play, crafted my character, and it was awesome. But man, it was like 3.5 hours, maybe 4. And it was all with like people over the age of about 30. And so I was really like impressed everybody hung that long, because there was also a lot of people over the age of like 45. I was like, my God, like you're really into this, and like I'm embarrassed for you, but at the same time, like I like that you're having so much fun.
Yeah, it
I feel
took
like
way longer than I thought it was going to.
Yeah, because you're just like, oh, I'm gonna play a couple levels. Like, no, it's a whole story. And it's like, what if I don't want to talk to the person at the tavern, and I just want to go see what's in the cave?
Exactly.
So, okay, my next question just kind of comes to, so Frederick music is has always been something like I've been around. So like I've grown up here. I've done a lot of things in Frederick, and I've seen bands kind of come and go, and I've seen the fads at the time where every band sounds like they are a Hot Topic screamo band, and everybody
Under
is
Oath too.
Yeah, there we go. Where it's like all of those bands are generally kind of like the same thing, and then the next thing kind of comes through, and the next thing kind of comes through, and the next thing kind of comes through. When Kitewave, when you all kind of just popped on, it was kind of this thing where it's like I saw your name, but like you were only playing like selective shows. All the vibes were really cool, and then like you just brought something different. So, Abie, I know you've been in other bands before, but like, is Kitewave different?
I think so. I mean, like, I feel like I went from playing in a very like indie rock, and I feel like for a period of time, Frederick was like indie rock city, you know, like every band was playing like indie rock type stuff. And I went from that to just jamming with Lauren, who like you know, is like a jazz musician and stuff. So I was like playing a lot of things that I wasn't totally used to. And then we got Seth on board and Dan, who both like, you know, weren't a part of the Frederick music scene beforehand, so they didn't have this like preconceived notion of like what the sound was or anything, and it just like made something new.
Yeah. So Lauren, is Kitewave kind of like, are you the first idea person that kind of comes to the table with something? And then
I
like,
feel like, sorry, what were we gonna say?
Go ahead.
I feel like we all are. Like, there's definitely there's different songs where it's like, oh, that was like, you know, that was Abie's, you know, song skeleton, or that was my song skeleton. Or there's some songs like In Emptiness My Feel, actually, where like I brought a riff to the table, but then we all like built it from the ground up. And that's what I really like about it, is like it's very much a group effort.
Mm-hmm.
So y'all released your demos back in November, yeah? Yeah. All right. So you just kind of mentioned there, yeah, there's some stuff in the works. When's that coming?
We don't have an exact timeline going, but we are currently working on it.
Yeah.
Like any chance we get, we go over and try.
That's
to
a fair
record.
enough answer. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Balance
do you all
lots of work schedules.
Yeah, with real life. I mean, where do you all record like this? So these demos, did you do them yourselves? Did you work with somebody here? Did you have a buddy?
These demos, the one that are released, we just did on our own. We just, whenever we got a chance, we recorded our parts and then sent them to each other and then mixed them from there. But we're trying to record right now with my good friend Austin.
Yeah, Austin Brister.
Mm-hmm.
That Austin or different Austin?
That Austin. The Austin.
The Austin. Yeah, there should only be one. So yeah, yeah, not ready to get into that next song yet. But so okay, the Glory Donut show that you all played was a really big show. Like probably one of the, I think that was Glory's first show that was there. Glory is just a staple in Frederick, and I am so happy they exist. And being around Alyssa for a long time with Passengers and just seeing what they got to kind of carve out and then leave, and seeing the stuff that they got to do moving on in life has just been really cool. I mean, Abie, I know you have some sort of relation to that circuit, but like, what was it like, kind of like, I mean, I think you all opened up that show, and I think it was probably packed when you all played. Like, tell me a little bit about what that was like.
It was quite interesting. I was booked that show by my sister Maeve, who was like playing in Brat, the headliner of that night, and she like hit me up asking if any of my bands wanted to play that, and I was like, well, I only have one at the moment, and it's not really like hardcore. If that's okay. And she was like, no, yeah, totally, whatever, like we'll get people to come out who wouldn't normally come out to a hardcore show. And I was like, yeah, totally, okay. And I don't think we didn't have very many people who like were following us at that point, so it was just kind of like a bunch of punks hanging out for for our Kitewave, our little soft rock show. So it was interesting, but it was a good time.
Yeah, didn't you say like we played a cover of Do You Want to Dance? And I think you said that you heard someone say, they say, do you want to dance? But I don't want to dance. I just want to throw elbows. Or
Yeah.
I feel like that's like the best like scene song ever. It's like, yeah, when I asked her if she wanted to dance, she said, no, I wanted to throw elbows.
Yeah. We did end up, that sort of inspired us. That show inspired us to sort of start writing like harder music, though. We did start to use some distortion after that.
I don't want to dance, I want to throw elbows should be a Fall Out Boy song.
Yes. Yes.
Like straight facts.
Yeah. And that's the kind of cool. So full disclosure, when I saw you all on that flyer, that kind of like brought like a sense of nostalgia up for me, because that's how Frederick shows really used to be. There was a house in Newmarket that did shows all the time, Krasner's Basement, and they would have tons of shows where you would have bands like the Lost Taurus play. You would have bands like La Dispute play. You'd have bands like random bands on tour coming through. And it was like everybody sounded totally different. But then the idea that like this sense of like community and bringing people together, and it didn't really matter what genre things were, it was just totally cool. And so when I saw that flyer, it's like I saw Brat was on there, and then I saw there was one more band from Baltimore that was on there too, I think. Yes. And then it was you all, and I was like, man, that's awesome. And so then, but like part of that's cool because then you all got to experience something a little heavier that kind of shaped what you guys wrote on your next song. And it's like, oh man, that just kind of lives on, and that's just so cool. So I don't know. It made my old heart happy. I was like, man, this is the best. So with those people, we were talking about Austin a few minutes ago. Music and community is super important. So like this next song is a song from Austin's band. Abie, you sent me these songs. Can you tell me a little bit about what this one and like why you picked this one for the show?
Oh, well, I actually asked Austin which song he would want played for it, and he picked this one. I don't know a whole lot about it. I wasn't really involved in his songwriting, but I'm pretty sure it's about his dog.
Yes, and he has beautiful dogs.
Oh yeah.
Actually, you know what? I think that is the name of his dog. So that's amazing. And as I was listening through this earlier, I was like, man, his voice is just so angelic. Yes. So here's the angelic voice of Austin Brister. songs about dogs. I think there's just something that just speaks to your soul a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And while we were listening to that song, Abie, you were showing us a picture of those dogs. They are, and Genevieve, correct me if I'm wrong, I think are they Bernese mountain dogs? I need you to correct
I think
me.
you know it. The Bermuda dog.
Triangle. Yeah, triangle dogs. Yeah. When you have three of them.
They're like real pointy. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Tight. Yeah.
They're so pretty.
So, Abie, how did you get to know Austin?
We worked together at a little cafe in Mount Airy, and he quickly became my favorite coworker, and then just started hanging out.
It was the
Started
co-op,
jamming.
right?
It was I don't know if it was technically a co-op. I guess it maybe was. But it was like Superfoods on Main. I think it's called something else now, but something very similar to that. Yeah. Just
Did
by
you ever
complete happenstance.
Did you ever or were you ever a part of any of those shows that happened in the basement?
I wasn't, but we did throw shows in the like next room over. Like Austin would host them because we would have open mics, and then that was actually the first gig I ever played was at that cafe.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That was the first place because it used to be called Vintage Coffee, I think, before there was the Vintage Snooty restaurant that's really nice and yummy in Newmarket. But it was called Vintage Coffee House in Mount Airy, and I played. That was my first, I think, like acoustic show with many bands ago. So that's amazing that room still kind of has that significance. So my favorite part about this whole Kitewave band and experience that like I get to joyfully witness seeing just happen in Frederick is that you all also get to do something really exciting in your practice space for shows. Tell people why you're crazy enough to put shows in your practice space and also maybe your living space and what that's called and a little bit about what you're trying to do there.
Well, you want to give it a shot, Lauren?
We call the space the rat hole.
Yes.
That kind of stemmed so like growing up, this might be sort of TMI, I guess, but my like
we're going there. Do it.
My dad's house's Wi-Fi password was always like some variation of rat hole 69, rat hole 2, like whatever. It just really stuck with me. So yeah, that's kind of what happened there. And then yeah, I don't even know. We like Abie and I were just sitting in the living room one night. I don't even remember how it came up, but we just started talking about like, what if we put shows on in our living room? Because it's like I don't know, it's a pretty good setup. Like it has like the place where the bands play used to be our dining room, and there's like a big opening into it from the living room, so it's kind of perfect. Like, audience here, band there, and yeah, I mean, then we just started daydreaming and fantasizing about like how we could make it happen, and then we just like did make it happen.
Yeah. I think we were up like for a good couple hours just talking about it, planning, and like being like, and the drum set can go here.
Yeah.
Hi. So I was actually at your place like a week or two ago, and I saw Flooded and Giovanni Orsini and Tony from Bowling. Yeah. And when I was like kind of thinking about it and going through your socials, I was like, yo, this is so Fugazi. And by that, I mean, like, on all of your flyers, you put pay what you can. You also don't stray from like any kind of genre. You go there, you go everywhere. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I mean, like, accessible house shows have always been like something that I just loved going to. And
say
then,
that
like...
again for the people in the back. Yes.
Yeah.
Go on.
And like I don't know, all the house venues kind of disappeared for a while, like shortly before COVID, and then COVID just kind of like really put the nail in the coffin. And so it was like, well, we can sit around and wait for another venue to open by people we don't know, or we can just do it ourselves.
Yeah, and you did it. And you're doing everything. You're doing the jazz jams. I was stoked to see like the open mics. Are you gonna do that again? That looks really fun.
We would love to.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm in a free improv ensemble at school, and I told my teacher about it, and he was like so pissed because he actually had a gig like the same night, or else he would have made it out. And he was like, I'm in the same class this semester too, and he was like, Lauren, like, when are you gonna have another free jazz jam? And I was like, man, John, I don't know. Like, I'll tell you about it though. But we would love to do one again. I thought it was so fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I brought my boyfriend out, and when we left that night, we like, we're just heading out, and then we saw your neighbors, and they seemed cool, and I think they had like cool hair. I don't know why. Anyway,
that was our first time meeting them. Actually, it was incredible. It was like such a magical night. They were so nice.
Oh, that's so dope. So what's something about that Rat Hole is doing differently than other house venues have done in the past?
Well, I don't know if any other venue has ever required masks. So that's something we do.
Tight. That's sick.
It's crazy that your neighbors, you met them for the first time and like you've had multiple shows there. That's either insane or the coolest neighbors ever.
No, they were so cool. Like, so they're like sort of new. They moved in like a little bit into us like already being established with like having shows at our house and stuff. And the last neighbors were cool too. They just kind of like kept to themselves though, which fine by us with as far as noise goes. But yeah, like, because I was on the porch and then they yelled over. They were like, "We love you. We love the music. We love your bands." And I was like, "No way! I can't believe you guys are out here finally." Because I don't know. I've just never seen them. And I went over there and they were like, "Yeah, we hear your band practice and we've wanted to go over, but we just didn't know what to say." Like, so they were super cool. And we're actually gonna have a show soon, like on a Monday night. We were kind of like weird about it at first, but now that they're so cool about it, we don't really care. Like,
yeah,
it's whatever. We'll invite them over.
Yeah. So it's not like you guys are charging like $40 to come into your house to come check out these bands. Like you're doing it the punk rock way. Why?
Well, if it's cheap, then anyone can come.
Yeah.
And it's donation based. So by the end of the night, whatever draw the bands have had, like, and whoever donated money, we just split it amongst the bands. And like we've had people come out that were like, oh yeah, like pretty young people who are like, this is actually like the first show I've ever come to, and they were like super sweet and excited, and I was like, that's so awesome. I'm so glad that we could provide that for you.
Yeah.
And that you didn't have to like empty out your wallet for it.
Yeah.
Something that I noticed that y'all do that's super sick is that you've kind of compiled this Spotify playlist of everyone, well, at least everyone that has Spotify, that has played at your place, and that's super cool. Like I think the one that I went to like a week or two ago was the first show, which was sick, by the way. But yeah, it was really cool that I was able to just like jump right in and be like, oh, what was that band called? Oh, they're right there. So what's coming in the future for Rat Hole?
More shows.
Yeah.
More shows, more open mics, hopefully more poetry nights.
Yeah.
More free jazz jams, just more in general.
Yeah, we've had a ton of people reach out to us about like March shows, and like for the first time we've had to be like, hold on. Like I wish I could have something here every night, but
Yeah,
we live here.
yeah. We were thinking maybe in the summer we could like possibly, if it's not too loud, have shows like outside with our shed and stuff. Maybe have a grill going or something.
Yeah.
Maybe like
he always has the fire going
outdoor
during them too.
vibes. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? That would be
exactly.
really tight. Please do that. That would be so dope.
Yes.
That's just the best. And it's like I think that is the having a great home base is the best thing for a band. And it's also nice when that home base is also your home, and it's even better when the people that are in that home are so welcoming to others in the community. So this is not a blow smoke up your ass podcast, but man, I am so grateful for everything y'all are doing, because the really cool thing about just a healthy scene is having people like you doing what you do, which is you're opening your house to anybody. You are allowing music to be free, and not in the sense of like not being paid for, but just a sense of like letting it just be allowed to be. And that's just so cool. I hope you don't burn out. Please don't stop. And if you ever need help, like, man, you have a really big and caring community. You have a lot of shitheads that will try to tell you to do things a certain way, but don't listen to them. Follow your own compass, do your own thing. You guys are doing some cool stuff. So very, very grateful. And you're not getting a chance to rebuttal that because false humility is lame, but love you all.
Thank you.
Ending this podcast in just a few minutes we have left. Where can people find Kitewave? Where can people find the rat hole 69 password, and what's your dad's social security number?
I actually don't know it, but for some weird reason, my mom still remembers his social security number, so ask her. But as far as rat hole goes, you can find rat hole on Instagram at rathole21, and Kitewave you can find on Instagram at kitewave_MD. And both places we post about upcoming shows. And as far as rat hole goes, not this Saturday, but the next Saturday, the 5th, we have a show.
This podcast is going to come out at like end of March-ish. So
okay.
So
you missed it.
those shows were awesome, and I had such a good time at them. I don't know about you all.
Yeah, dude.
But,
okay, that band was tight.
They all went so well.
We have one coming out then on April 1st. 4 band lined up. Not a joke. Not a joke. Like it has been announced. So you make your way out to that. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Sweet.
should be a good one. For
listeners and avid fans and Patreon subscribers of the Could Be Better podcast, we will be putting in the show notes, the links to the rat hole. I always want to say rat's nest. It's not the rat's nest, Chris. It's not. The rat hole and Kitewave will be in the show notes, and this is going to be awesome. So again, so grateful for what you're doing for Frederick, and for just music and community. It makes my heart swell several sizes too big. So thank you so much. Abie, we're going to play one more song. This is from your not original band, is it? It's not your first one.
It wasn't my first band, but it was my first band that I wrote the songs for.
So it's the only band of songs you like, is that what you're telling me?
Exactly.
So this song has one of my favorite lyrics in it. It will be fine. Tell me a little bit about that line, Abie, because that's the one that always kind of sticks out to me. And it's not just because you sing it over and over.
Yeah. That song, it sounds like a sad relationship song, which is funny because I'm not in a sad relationship and I wrote it during that time. It was just kind of like every couple months I get a spur of like creative energy that I write a song and try to record it in a day. And that was one of them. And it's just kind of like, it's fine. Don't worry about it. kind of vibe.
Yeah. All good things we need to remember. So it's fine. Don't worry about it. Here's a song about sleeping by Flooring. Thank you guys so much.
Of course.
Take the car, I'll be around when you get home. Don't make a sound, I'll be away down in my bed. You've got a bruise, did you hit your head? It's fine, don't worry, it's fine, don't worry about it. too, and they tried their best. What did you mean back when you said, am I alive or just in your head? It's fine, don't worry, it's fine, don't worry about it. It's fine, don't worry, it's fine, don't worry about it. Fine, don't worry, it's fine, don't worry,
The Could Be Better podcast is produced by Chris Perry and Colin McGuire from the Could Be Better studios in Frederick, Maryland.
Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at couldbebettermeh.
You could also email us at couldbebettermeh@gmail.com. And don't be afraid to reach out if you're an artist, a band, anybody looking for a show. We'd love to book you. Also, if you'd happen to want to be a sponsor, we'd like to hear from you too.
Subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts or follow us on Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Give us a 5-star review if you like what you hear and want to hear more. And also give us a 5-star review if you don't like what you hear and definitely don't want to hear more.
His name is Chris Perry,
This is Colin McGuire.
and we are out of time. For now, this could be better.